All right, rise and shine. Clap your hands once if you can hear my voice. Clap your hands twice if you can hear my voice. All right, so I want to go over some props, some prop review again, and just kind of like break it down a little bit more and see what exactly we can do, okay? Any of us still confused at all about props? All right, cool. So I will do this. Okay, so I'm gonna close our movie display from this morning, and our movie index, because we're not gonna use that. I'm gonna delete our movie index for now, and just comment it down here. And so we're left with this nothing, right? Just hello. And we go to our local host, which I need to run our application. npm start. So far, really all I've done up to this point, if we wanted to get here, is do create React app, the name of my app. I've CD'd into it. I've done npm start to get it going, and then I have deleted all of that crap that it gave me with the spinning React symbol and things like that, because I'm not interested in using it. So, fair? Okay. So how can anybody tell me what a prop is? What's a decent definition for prop? Yeah.
Let's say like a property of the state parent.
So not necessarily the state of the parent, but you're pretty close. So a prop is just something and some type of property that has been passed from a parent component. That's it. All right, so the prop is just a property that is being passed in from a parent. Okay, so let's see what that kind of looks like in action. So I'm going to first make a new file in a source, new file, and I'm going to call this parent.js. Okay, and if I wanted to make this a class component, I'm going to say I'm going to import React from React, and I'm going to do this class thing that we've been doing where we're saying like, hey, class parent extends React component, and we've been exporting, right? Default parent, and I'm gonna just do a render and I didn't do that right there. Do a render and a return fragment. I'm just doing a bunch of boilerplate code that says parent component showing, and inside of app I'm going to import that. So import parent from parent. Okay, are we cool with this so far? So if I go parent here, right? So when I do this, what am I doing when I do this? When I write that, what does that mean? What is that? Neeleen?
That's like making a div with one of the functions.
It's like making a div with whatever function, kind of. Right, Leo?
It's just a render the parent's components.
To render the parent component. Okay. Yeah, so this, right, this is an instance of the parent class. And that instance is currently returning the word I'm showing a parent. And so if I refresh here, didn't work. Why? It didn't save. Parent component showing. So what we're looking at right now is an instance of parent component. So if I go like this, what do we expect to see when I save? Right? Okay. Parent component showing, parent component showing, parent component showing. Is anybody not following how we just did that? I know people are like, where's the props? Well, we're leading into it. Okay. Great. So I could do that if I wanted to. And to keep things clear, I'm also going to now make a child component that we will render inside of parent. Okay? So I'm going to go to source, do a new file, and I'm going to call it child.js. I'm going to do all of that same boring boilerplate code. It's not boring, it's amazing. And sure, I'll make this a stateful component as well, even though I could also just be doing this as a functional component. And we can eventually convert it over if we want. We can say class child extends react.component. And I'm just going to do render, return. I'm going to do a React fragment, and I'm going to say, this is the child component, and export it. And I'm going to import that, not here, I'm going to import that inside of parent. Okay. Right, so right now, yeah, David.
What makes it stateful? So it's a class that say stateful. It's like a gym.
When I have a state, well, you only really need a class if it's going to have state.
Right, so it's not stateful yet.
Not yet, but I'm setting it up as if it's a stateful component, because it will be if I add it. Otherwise, I should probably just switch it over to a functional component. No need to have a whole class. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to show this child in the parent. So this is a child of the parent, right? So I'm going to go child. What do we expect to see on the screen when I do this? What's going to happen? Somebody tell me. What are we going to see in our browser? Same. Is that all we'll see? And whatever's in the parent component. Okay. Any other guesses, ideas, thoughts, concerns? All right, so let's see it. So I'm going to save it. And we get this, right? Parent component showing. And then this is the child component. Maybe it will help if I do a line break here. Slightly more visually attractive, right? So how many components do we have being seen right now? 2. Although we also actually have app, right? App is another component, but app has nothing in it except for the parent. Don't really necessarily even need app in this situation. I could be passing parent into our index.js file where we do React DOM render, right? Because there's no difference. I'm not using app at all right now. So for all intents and purposes, as we talk about right now, let's just pretend we're dealing with just the 2 components. We have parent and child. Okay. So, children, where do we get our eyes? You know, you have your mother's eyes, you know, right? You got your dad's eyes, someone's eyes, right? So, let's pretend parent has some information. So let's give our parent a constructor. And we'll give it a super. And we'll give it a state. And inside of our state, let's store some information. So a person might have some attributes to them, right? They might have their eye color. And we'll start it off with blue. Well, I think most people's eyes in here is brown, actually, so I'll do brown. I think I'm one of the only blue-eyed people here. But yeah, there's only like 4 of us, maybe, with blue eyes? So I'll do brown, it's more relatable.
White people.
I have seen people of different colors with blue eyes, though. Oh, like all colors. Whatever. All right, whatever. So, and maybe parent has a name, and we'll call them adult. And maybe they have a hair color, say black. Okay, so this is like, you could say these are like the state of this parent, right? Now, how's the best? So we can pass attributes to our child, right? So I could say, all right, this child, I'm going to have their eye color. So I'm going to say eye color. Now I could call this anything, but I'm going to call it eye color because that's what it is. That's what it's going to be referring to. So I'm going to try to stay consistent. And how do I access? You know, I could choose anything. I could make the child's eye color the parent's hair color, right? I can make the child's eye color their name. I could hard code something. I could say, well, the child's eye color is going to be green. I could do that. Yep. I'm giving the child props. Nope. No. No. We only have one state involved right now.
So that would be this state eye color.
If we want to pass our mother's or parent's eye color in there, yeah. So I'm going to update this. I'm going to say this dot state dot eye color. So this is referring to the parent's eye color. And the parent is passing to their child their eye color. So now the child is going to have this key eye color, and it's going to be the same as the parent's eye color. So if we go into child, I can create a constructor and pass props into it because props are going to be coming in now. I'm going to be calling super and also passing props, so that's what we do. And I'm going to throw in the debugger. I knew that I was going to say that. Okay, so here we go. We're in our debugger, and we can see that when we look at this dot props, we have eye color, brown. This is coming from the parent. All right, who would have thought the child was getting something from their parent? Awesome. Does this make sense? We have a parent. Our parent has certain properties, and the parent has a child. The child gets its properties, or is getting properties, from its parent, just like real life. Right? I have a mix between both my parents, of course, but this is more of like if you were cloning. So you would say I have my parents' hands, which looks exactly like me. I have my father's hands, for the record. But my mother's eyes. Big palms and short fingers. Okay, so we have this.state.eye color that's coming in from the parent. And so when we go inside of our child, if we throw a debugger in when we're creating this child, we will see that child has the property eye color brown. So if we wanted to add another property to our child, let's say I want to give them a name, and I want my child to have a name, and I'm going to, of course, name my child after me, and I'm going to say this.state.name plus string, and I'm going to say junior. Right? So now when I save it, and we reshape, now we can look at our props. I have to refresh this. Now we've got our name there under this.props.name, and it's adult junior. Adult JR, man. Maybe this is hitting a little close to home. Okay, so questions on what a prop is here. There's essentially nothing in the child component.
Just passing props.
I'm just hitting a debugger there. But I could do stuff in child, right? I don't have to have debugger, but I could actually display information about our child. I could say child, and then I could say this.props.eye color, right? And now it will say that will say child brown. I'll just say child eye color. Couldn't set it out loud. There we go. Right now we have child eye color brown. Parent component still showing. Yeah, Jen.
I have a question about the parent component.
Okay, what about it?
When you did the name and you did plus junior, at that point, is junior going to be part of the state, or is that only in that part of code right there?
Good question. So we're not setting state. So the only way we change state is to set state. So because we're not setting state, our state is unchanged. This is only going to be passed in as part of the props to our child. Great question. Eileen. Yes.
You went into child, and besides having props, you did this state and gave it its own little states. I thought you do it sometimes with that other thing. Can you then say this.props.eye color plus this.props.hair color? I mean, this.state.hair color. Like give it
You could.
hair color and states.
Part of the design of our architecture of our apps at the moment that we're trying to do is we're only going to have like one state, so that everything is showing to the truth. The exception of maybe I'd want to fill on a form and that would have its own state. And then when they submit, I would update the state of a parent component that shows that as an object. But we're not there yet. We're going to get there soon. Just want to break down the most simple passing in of a prop that we could do. If we can understand this, we can understand the next step. Do we feel like we can understand this? Okay. So, I want to be able to change my child's name, right? And so, let's pretend that I don't just name them after myself, okay? But I have these ideas in my head, and I'm going to control my child that way. So, instead, I'm just going to say child's name. I'm going to point this to a child. What's a good child name? We'll call it Winnie. Okay, that's kind of fun. And so instead of having child, right, and this.state.name, I can now say child's name, right? This isn't such a big jump. I could say child's name here as well, right? This is what we've been doing, pattern. But I don't have to. So I'm not going to, because I'm going to just kind of prove a point right now that I don't have to do that. I can still save. And let me update our child so we actually get the name. This dot props dot name, because our props are still coming in.
Can we capitalize?
Yeah, I would probably do that with CSS, or I could break it apart with JavaScript. I don't want to. That would be like going down into like a little detail that I don't. It's like more JavaScript game instead of React game. Right, so I got this child name Winnie, and this is inside of the child component, right? So I'm still able to use name, even though in my state of parent, I'm saying this is the child's name. I can still say name when I pass it in as a property. Right? Yep.
Was Jenna's question asking about the state, like only have lowercase inside of the state string?
I think it was just seeing if we can capitalize it, right?
Yeah, can.
Yeah. Yeah. Is everybody like really caught up on like the grammar? I mean, we should be paying attention to the React. Yeah, if it's about capitalization.
Related to that, so
Okay.
let's say that the name is not capitalized inside the state, right?
Yeah.
So in order for us to write the function that capitalizes it, we need to do it inside of like the function.
We could do it inside a render or in a separate function and call that. Right, we know how to split strings and slice strings and capitalize individual letters and key into strings and capitalize those. Right, this dot props dot name at 0.2 uppercase invoked plus this dot props dot name dot slice 1. That would work. But we've got this child's name and it's Winnie. But I'm not that into that name, right? So what if I made a function that the child, because the child grows up being called Winnie, and Winnie decides, I'm not that into that name. I want to be called Big Win, right? No one wants to be a Winnie when they can be a Big Win. No offense if you know someone named Winnie, probably don't say that to them. Don't show them the video. Right? So I'm going to create this function and I'm going to pass that function to my child to allow them to change their name. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say, like, handle name change, or handle child name change. I'll just get like really weirdly specific for this. And I'm going to preset the name right now. All right, let's just pretend I want to preset the name. So instead, I'm going to here, I'm going to go, how do I change the state in the parent component here, which we're in? This dot set state. And then it takes in an object, and we have to say the key we want to change and the value we want to change it to. So child's name, I want to change to Big Win. Okay. So this function's not being called anywhere, right? But we could make it so it gets called, right? So we could add inside of child. Well, first we're going to have to pass this to our child. If we want our child to someday be able to change their name, we have to give them the right. Right? If we lock them in a box their whole life, maybe they can't change their name. If we raise them in a cabin in the woods, perhaps they do want to change their name. So instead of having iColor name here, I can have those, but I'm also now going to add another property called, I'm just going to say change my name. as if we're the child. And I'm going to say this dot handle child name change. Okay? And so this function, let's remember, is inside of our parent. And it's going to change the state of our parent. Okay? So I'm going to save that. I'm going to go over to child. I'm going to put our debugger back into our props. I'm going to save that. Refresh. And we hit that. And now we see, when we look at this props, we see we have all these other things now. We still have eye color Brad. We still have name Winnie. And we have change my name. That kind of sounds like that Breaking Bad. Say my name. Right? And it's a function we see. Cool. Right now we have no way of calling that function, so we have to make a way for the child to call the function. So I'm going to add a button to our child. And I'm going to say button. And I'm going to call it change my name. And I got to put a listener on here because I want to have a button click. So I'm going to say on the click. What do I want to do on the click? What do we think? What can we do on the click? Jen? Yeah. Excellent. Right? In our props, we have a function that supposedly changes the name. So let's do it. So we go this dot props dot change my name. Just like that. So when this button gets clicked, we're going to fire off this function, and this is going to update the state in parent. And since the name is coming from parent, and it's in parent state, it's going to cause a re-render, and this will be changed. Let's see if it works. If it doesn't, I will be a little worried. And we're going to take out the debugger. And we see, okay, parent component showing. Child name Winnie. Change my name. And now it says big one. Pretty cool. Okay. Questions? So, maybe we want to be able to control our name. What were you going to say?
We pass all the prompts just by the step state.
Could we pass all the props with this state? Yeah. Like if I wanted everything about all that information, and I said data equals this dot state or something, and then it would be this dot props dot data, and then be an object. Good question. Would we want to? I don't know. That's a lot to pass, maybe. Maybe sometimes we would. Michelle.
So I noticed that it says that it's a useless constructor child.
You a little louder.
I noticed that it says that there's a useless constructor child.
Yeah. That is being in here. It's because I'm not doing anything with it. I don't even need it. We can eventually convert this over to something else if we want, right? We can convert it now if we want. Yeah, sure, we'll convert it now. So I'm gonna, instead of having this be a class component, because I'm not keeping track of state, right? I don't need this to be a class component. Maybe instead I have it be a functional component. So let's make some changes. So instead of having class here, we're going to say const. And instead of having extends React component, going to do props like that. And instead of having the constructor super, I'm going to get rid of that. I don't think I need a render anymore. Instead of having render, I'm just going to have return. And instead of it being this dot props, it will just now become props. That's a little bit cleaner. Johnny.
How come on the child's JS, it's not like this props child's name? I see props name targeting the.
Because it's child's name in my parent state, but I'm passing it in to the child as name. This could say banana. This could say child's name. Usually we want to keep these consistent. I'm trying to make a very specific choice of differentiating them so that we can see the difference between parent and child.
So the reason why is you want to get the key and the value.
This props dot something is props dot the key. This is eye color. Oh my god, I can see the highlight. Name and change my name. Oh, that is sweet. Did it work for everything? Oh, great. What? I wonder where it was. I wonder what was wrong with it. Can you guys see the highlight?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. What?
Except Monday.
Except Monday and yesterday and all the other days this week. Adam was taking a break. Okay, so everything is still the exact same. We've just, instead of making it now a class component, it is just a functional component. Works identically. Let's clean this up even one step further. So now instead of having name, change my name, I'm just going to destructure these props as they come in, say name, and change my name. Now I can remove. Wait a minute. There we go. And now I can remove the props. So now it's even. It's X here. It still works the same. Okay, so I've got this other line down here. I'm doing a functional component. So instead of exporting it there, I'm now going to export it by the word const to make it even sexier. And at the top, instead of importing child like that, I will have to destructure it. And now that's about as short as we can make it. Cool. Jen.
So converting the child class to a functional component called child was working identically. That if it's identical, then what situations would you use one or the other?
If you need a state, you use class. If you don't, it's a functional component. So this keeps it, I mean, this is so much more attractive, really, than what we had a minute ago. It's also a lot more readable than what we had. So now we have the ability for our child to change its name, and we can see that that change, the reflection of that change. Bless you. So maybe we want to be able to change it up as it's happening, right? That seems like something we were doing. So now maybe instead of a button, I turn this into an input. Let's see what that would look like. So I do input, and I say type, text, and I say value is, what would be a good value for this? Name. And then on change, I would then call what? Change my name, possibly, right? So I've got change my name. Do we see anything that might be an issue yet? No, that's okay. We will in a second. Yeah, okay, cool. Maybe everything's cool.
Didn't close the input.
Didn't what?
Didn't close the input.
Didn't close the input. Okay, yeah, sure. That's those Uber eyes. I love that. That was not what I was referring to, but that is a good catch. That's right.
You refer to steady obtain But the problem,
No, but we'll get there. So we got parents here, and this is the handle name change function that's going to be happening. We're just setting it to big win. So if we refresh, and now we have Winnie, and I start to delete, it goes to big win. And I'm stuck with big win for the rest of my life. But maybe I don't really want to be called big win. Maybe I want to be called bigger win. So how can we make that adjustment without just hard coding in bigger win? Because we want to be able to flip and change our mind like crazy. So maybe we can take in the event. And I'm going to bind this so that we can see the debugger and see if we can get closer to our solution. So inside of our constructor, in order to bind, I'm going to say handle child name and this dot handle child name change. Really important that it's the same, they're pointing to the same function. Eric. That's a playful thing. We went down a rabbit hole this morning. Definitely want to make sure these match up, or you will have some weird behavior that's super duper hard to track down. So let's see what happens now. So now I'm going to click. We still hit big win. We should have hit a debugger though, yeah. Oh, we didn't. Maybe we didn't put a debugger in. Ah, okay. Go to make a change, and we've hit our debugger. So let's find out some information about that event. Let's look at the event target. That's the input. Pretty cool. And we can say event dot target dot value. It's been changed, right? So maybe we should change that here. Instead of big win, we can say event dot target dot value. Let's try that. Again, so now instead of Winnie, looks like I can change it and I can say bigger win. Cool. Questions on how that's working? Mm-hmm.
You show one in provide box that you're typing.
Can I show what?
The logic for the box. Where is it?
Right here. This is the event that's happening, which is inside of our parent component. It's setting the state of its child name to the event.target.value. And in our child, we just have an input that's listening for a change and calling that function when that change occurs. Pretty exciting, right? So we're able to see this. So we keep talking about this like single source of truth kind of, right? And like how we're currently just doing it with prop drilling, which eventually we will replace with something a little bit nicer. Yeah, Davey?
So you said that we needed to use an ES5 to use.
You don't need to use ES5. With ES5, you have to use bind. You don't need ES5 to use bind. Because I'm using bind. You need bind to use the debugger. With ES5, you have to use bind. If you want to see the debugger with ES6, you have to use bind. Why are we using ES6?
No, why are we using ES5?
Why do we use ES5 ever? Oh, might like it. We're not using ES5 on our render, so like personally, I like to use ES5 because I like all my functions to generally look the same. but I'm using ES6 here so everyone can see different things. Yeah, more.
Either of them you have to use bind, right?
If you want to use the debugger, you have to use bind, either way. I'm no longer using the debugger, right? So I'm also no longer going to be using bind. And things will still work.
Just remember to explicitly say.
Oh, the wording is just like a couple words off, right? Oh, it definitely could be misremembered or slightly confused.
Yeah,
That's fair. What?
We have you.
Yeah, we do. You should probably watch it again. I said it correctly. Okay, so hopefully we're feeling a little bit better now about props and sending a function in to update something that happened to the parent. Right, now this is the same thing if I wanted to go even deeper. I could send something to a grandchild. So let's do that, right? Let's take, are people coding along? Or I'll just, you know what I'll do? I will push this again. So I will go here, git status, git add, git commit m, parent child, git push origin. Oops. Okay, so this is on that GitHub of the link that I posted this morning after the warm-up. So now make a grandchild function and display that through the child and have pass some kind of event that's keeping track. Like we'll have a grandchild's name and the parent and pass that all the way down a hair color. Like they can dye their hair color from a select bar, okay? That's it, okay, I've created it. You will, okay, I will type this. In a grandchild component, make a select bar to change hair color. Keep the child's grandchild hair color in parent container. Okay? Let's do it. What font?
Songs. It's not like
Oh, it's an astronaut. to
Here's the function for changing the hair.
It's going to be up to you. I mean, you will need to be able to change the hair color. It could have its own function. Perhaps you will finagle our current function to be able to take in different types of changes. We'll see.
Use the tutorial. It just looks too blue. Put it down.
Yes, I'm confused.
So when I say keep it in the parent container, I literally mean our component parent. I don't mean the grandchild parent, which is child. I mean, literally. Just a default load it is. Very confusing. Quick poll, how are we doing so far? Up for more time? Okay, up for like 10 minutes? Up for 5 minutes? Okay, 10 more minutes and then we will. Yeah, John. Uh-oh. So many. That would be so much to set up to get.
If that function isn't beyond submit, then I'm not. Essentially, like if you have
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's game time. How did it go? Were any of us pretty successful? Yay, nay, okay. All right, we all have to vote. We can all vote one of those. Yay, nay, okay. Oh, okay. Mostly negative. Interesting. So that's too bad. It's pretty much the same thing as what we did with child, except for just sending it one more layer. But let's talk about it. So we're going to say grandchild in the state here. We said hair color, right? And let's start that off with brown. And let's go make a grandchild app. So we're gonna say new file. And we've already kind of just decided like it's gonna be a functional component. We're not gonna hold state because the current state is in our parent. So we're gonna say grandchild.js. It's boilerplate time. So I'm gonna do export con. Oh, I have to import React first, right? Import React from React, and we're gonna make a functional component. So I'm gonna do export const grandchild. A little louder, Nikki, for me. Yo, you want to destructure? Yeah, I can, of course. I can hear I can hear everybody constantly. Just so you know, even at your homes, I can hear it. Okay, I can hear everything. You're saying the right thing.
Oh,
Yeah, I was following your instruction.
oh,
Okay, yeah.
Reading my mind.
Cool. Yeah, I was doing that too. Okay. All right. Let's start with props, and I know it's not what Nikki had said, but we will eventually get to that where we'll just destructure it straight out, and we're gonna currently return run. No, not an object. Let's just do another React fragment because that seems to be what we like to do with the optical illusion. And then we can say grandchild. I'll do it in 2 words because it's a grand child. Build. It's a cool kid. So over here, import it into child. So I'm going to say import grandchild. Have to destructure it because I'm exporting it as a function. And I'm going to say from dot slash and tube and be good. And now if we want to render it, render it below all this. So I'm going to just do a break, do another one, and then I'm going to render grandchild. So far, okay?
Did you say something about the destructuring again? Why do you have to destructure the import?
Because I'm exporting it as a function. I'm going to keep going. So we've got our parent component, our child component, and our grandchild component, right? Are we confused with how we're seeing all these 3 things? Okay, awesome. So we've got this promise of props that we're giving our grandchild, but we're not passing our grandchild anything, right? Like if I put a debugger here, which of course I will, because you know me, and I refresh, and I look at our props, an empty object. Why is it an empty object? Anybody tell me?
You didn't pass anything.
Excellent. Maury says, well, when we created an instance of grandchild, inside of our child, we passed it nothing, right? Little grandchild's got nothing. Hard knock life, right? So, inside a parent, let's pass this down. Let's keep passing this property down. So we're calling it grandchild hair color. So I'm gonna just copy that because I want to keep it easy for me. And inside of, if I want to get it all the way down to the grandchild from up here, I'm gonna have to thread this prop, or prop drilling is what it's called. And eventually we're gonna find a better way to do this, but for now, this is our way. So inside of here, I have to make yet another property. So I'm gonna say grandchild hair color. What's it gonna be?
It's not state.
Thank you. This dot state dot grandchild hair color. Okay. So now where is this information? Where is it now?
That's the child.
Now it's in the child component. Thank you, Johnny. So right, if I were to throw a debugger here, which of course I will because you know me. We've hit our child component. And if I look at our props, I don't have it because I've destructured it out, right? So now if I want to have this available to me, I better add it here. Grandchild hair color, because it is going to come in now. Save that. Check our log. We see we still have grandchild hair color here, right? We got it as brown. Or, yeah, brown. Awesome. Now, our grandchild still doesn't have it, right? So what are we going to do? What can we do? Yeah,
Can you type it in prompts again?
yeah, it will throw an error. Props is the props is the argument. If I want to refer to it as props, I can't be doing this destructuring. I'm destructuring it out right here though. So I don't have props here, but I do have these three things. I actually have another thing. I think I passed in I think I have an eye color in my parent that I'm just never using. Right? I have child eye color. It disappears. I'm not using it. Shouldn't really be passing it in anymore, but it's there if I need it. Anyway, so we've got grandchild hair color. How can I get this into our grandchild? Jackie's doing a cool motion. Tell me what that is. One more time? That's right. Let's do it. Let's put it in the grandchild. Okay. What? So now we're going to say, let's call it baby, or we'll just call it grandchild haircut. Let's keep it simple. And that's going to now point to grandchild hair color. I'm going to remove our debugger from child. We're not children. We don't need it. And I'm going to refresh, and I think I still have a debugger there, right? We got props. Oh, and if we look at what our props are here, we've got grandchild hair color. Okay, so we've successfully passed this down dos levels, 2 levels. That's your Spanish lesson for the day. Okay, and inside a grandchild, I could display that, but what we wanted was to have a select bar in the display, right? So I'm going to say grandchild, and I'm going to say hair color. Oops. Hair color, and I'm just going to give it this props dot grandchild hair color. And remove our debugger. So now we've got some information, right? That's pretty cool. All right, this is a little victory. We're not exactly what we wanted yet, right? Because the goal is to make a select, and we will. Right? That's got to take it one thing at a time. Practice fun to never use, whatever. Okay. Maybe we don't even need this. Interesting. Okay. Anyway, so let's make that select. So I'm gonna make a select here after I make that break, and let's just select. Oh my God, my hand's 1 off. Okay. Select. Let's select. And we got to make some option tags. And our option. Where do we want our colors to be? Oh, you know what? What goes in our option? What goes in an option tag?
Value.
Value. And what's the color we want? Is it red? Is it blue? Grandchild's going wild. All right. So we'll say blue. And we definitely want to have black because we already have black as our hair color, right? Somebody else said red. I heard that. Sounds fun. What else? Any other hair colors that we really care about? Gray. Are you saying that because you know about that I'm going gray, Trey? I'll spell Canadian style or Christian Grey if you're into those books. All right, so we've got all that. So now if we were to, okay, so we got all these different hair colors. It's not changing anything with our color here. Not yet. So, and you know, honestly, don't we think brown should reflect brown? Although we should have put brown in there. So I'm just going to quickly do that. Okay. That should reflect, right? So this, what do we put in our selects in order to make them reflect? Not quite. This isn't an unchange.
I'll do the background color.
Not quite.
Value.
Value? Let's try that, sure. Value should point to what? Grandchild hair color? Maybe. Says grandchild hair color is not defined. That's because I didn't do props. Oh, so I'm repeating props here, right? Like doing that again? I don't like that. Let's destructure grandchild hair color. Let's get rid of the word props. So now it starts at brown, right? Which is the right thing, because that's what we wanted. Even though brown's all the way down on the list, it still starts with it because it's currently what it is. Cool? Fool? Yeah. This is what we have so far. So we're going to see on our select the value of the grandchild hair color. So if we want to be able to change the color of the hair color for the grandchild, who's got to give that permission? The parent, right? We all know that every life decision we make, we have to ask our grandparents. Because where's the state being held for the grandchild's hair color? Parent, okay, so parent's coming up a lot, right? Because parent's holding all of the information right now. So let's create a function that's going to allow us to change the hair color. So I'm going to make a function that's going to say handle grandchild hair change.
Use that same main function.
Yeah, we're going to do it next. And this takes in an event. And I'm going to say debugger. And I'm going to uncomment this out and delete that and say handle grandchild hair change. And now we'll be able to have access to our debugger. Okay? But first, how are we going to trigger this function? What do we think? How can we trigger this? Yeah, Johnny?
Kind of the same way as a name change.
Yeah, kind of.
We're going to target grandchild hair color. Target value.
Exactly. So we are going to have an event listener on our select, right? We can go inside of our grandchild and we can say, on change, we want the fire. Okay, well, what do we have available to us? We would like to have it, right? But what are we currently bringing in? Okay, so how do we get that function to hit this component?
Get the pass from parent to child.
Parent to child to grandchild, eh? Okay, so let's do it. So inside of parent, I'm gonna go like that. No. All right, I'm passing that in. Oh, actually, I don't need that, right? No state. Everyone's yelling. I got it. Thank you. I like the yell. Just to be clear, I like the participation. Okay. Is this that handle grandchild hair change? And so now we'll have that inside of our child, but we have to accept it because we're currently not accepting it. So we'll say handle grandchild hair change. It's getting unruly. Maybe we should go back to props, right? And then we're going to pass that also into here. So we'll say handle grandchild hair change. And we'll say, make that handle grandchild hair change. And so now our grandchild has access to this, right? As long as we bring it in. So up here, we can say handle grandchild hair change. And on change now we can do handle grandchild hair change.
Can you say why we didn't feed state in the end of the model? But on the.
Parent. We have.
Sorry, I should have asked it when you did it. Handle grandchild on the 35. Why didn't we need the state after that?
This isn't coming from the state. It's coming from this.
On that, can you ever have your function on state?
Yeah, I could put a function on state, sure.
You call grandchild on parents, not on, on child, not on grandparents.
What?
Grandchild, whether true for that component.
I am not in child. This is parent, child.
Grandchild there. Or grandchild is in child.
Yeah. I'm threading. So what's this going to do? All right, let's try it. I'm going to make a change. Let's give it gray hair. This is going to be kind of a version of me. And let's take a look at our event. So we can say event at target.value, and it's gray. And we know what the key is because we're already saying what the key is that we want. So, and just to be totally clear, our event.target is the select, right? So, in our parent, instead of having the word debugger, we got to set the state. So we're going to say this dot set state, and we're going to say grandchild hair color, and we want to point it to what? Dot value. Perfect. Now that's going to, what's set state do? Oh, right, merges and then re-renders, right? So now, when we change it, we get to see an effect. We have our grandchild changing, and we can still change everything up here. The child name, grandchild. Better, big win. Big wine, big win. Right, and we got all the colors. That one's for you, Johnny. Okay. Yes, you can. So not too much has changed for our child.js, except for that we've also now brought in this grandchild function and property and passed that into our grandchild component. Yeah.
He says when we call if that state it merges and then renders, we're merging what?
We're updating the state of that component inside of our parent there. So, as Max pointed out, mostly, he said like, hey, these two functions look a lot alike, right? Not the driest of things we've ever seen, right? Yeah, Johnny?
You can use that computed property thing with brackets.
Yeah, so that's it. Johnny's telling us the answer. He's saying, let's use event.target.name to our advantage here and just call the same function depending on the name. So now instead of having, I don't need this now, instead of having handle grandchild hair change or handle child name change, let's just make a handle change, yeah? So we go handle change, and instead of it being grandchild hair color, we will go event.target.name. And this will become, and if we set up our other elements so that they have a name, right? This will be the key of whatever thing we've changed or clicked on. And this will become the value. And it will render this one useless. I'm just going to comment it out. And so how do we do that? Well, we're going to have to pass in something else now. So we'll just say handle. We've made it handle change, right? And we no longer need to pass this one in because it's one function that's going to be doing it for both. Inside of child, we no longer will be, we have to give this now a name. And that name is going to be what? What's this name going to be? So in our parent, event.target.name's got to be one of these keys. Child's name. So this has got to be child's name. And then instead of passing in handle grandchild, now we just do handle, continue to pass in handle change. And then we don't need to pass this in anymore because we still have handle change. And we can go to change my name, so we're just calling this change my name. Right, that's all we're calling it. But maybe now we shouldn't call this change my name. Maybe we should just call this handle change. This would be a better refactor. So instead of down here where we're passing in this change my name, we're actually just going to be passing in handle change. Because it's going to be more than just changing a name now. It's going to be accounting for any change that we come along this path. So in child, this will now be handle change. This will now be handle change. And this will now be handle change. One more component to change, right? So we go to grandchild, and instead of it saying handle grandchild hair change, we can just do handle change and handle change. We haven't really changed any of the functionality, we've just made it significantly cleaner. Thank you. So we also need a name for our select. And what will that name be for our select? Great. Why?
Point being to state that gap that covers.
Perfect. So Mateza says it's grandchild hair color. That's where it's going to be in the state of our parent. So that's what it's going to be as our name in our select. So now everything should work the same, and our code is cleaner. All right? Yeah, JR.
So when you go back to the grandchild, so when you do export constant,
Yep.
Just right now, I was actually having an issue because I put the export constant, but it wasn't working until I do export.
You have to import it with the curly braces around. You have to destructure it.
Okay.
Leo.
So for the select, can we just remove all the attributes of value?
We need to have the value, definitely, because when we make a change, that value is going to be taken into account. Otherwise, we'd be doing like inner text things and stuff like that.
If we remove all the values, it's still working fine.
No, it will no longer work fine because we need that event.target value to be what we're changing it to.
Just remove the attributes.
We have to have the value there in the option tag. If you can get it, I mean, if not, I mean, try it. If you can get it to work a different way, that's awesome. I'm going to keep it like this. This is the way that you're going to see it. I don't want to show wrong code. Yeah?
I'm still having a problem with the structuring. There's a functional component that is structure, and then I don't want to.
Right. Perfect. Okay. So why do we do this, right? That's really the question, right? Why did we go through all that trouble to have our parent have everything? Why do we do that? Yeah.
Wasn't it like that template on the GitHub account, like that posts all the second management file?
Yeah, but why?
Because it's like a one-way street. Props. Finding that information.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Neeleen?
So if you need to access everything, you just have to go to one page. You have to go there and
Maybe. What else? Yeah, JR?
Because you can only change state.
Why might we want to do that? To your answer, I want to know why we might want to do that. Why might we only want to be changing state in one component?
You cannot change a component. You cannot change the state from other.
Well, they could change their own slice of state if we gave it to them. Max?
I'm gonna have all the information updated to the same.
We want all the information to be updated to be the same, possibly. What else? Any other ideas? Davey?
Just based on what they both said, JR, essentially, because this is like the top one, right? And we're that we're thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
So if the state's how to be used elsewhere, you want to change from towards it.
So state is being used elsewhere. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, Reed gave his example where you have a bunch of different profiles. You just want the state to be reflected across it, right? Across the board.
Jen?
I didn't hear the question.
I don't remember it. I asked it a while ago. I was saying, why would we want to set it up maybe so we'd have all our state here in this one parent? Why?
Set up me.
Set it up all in this one component, a parent.
Single
John?
source of truth.
Single source of truth. Yeah, that's a big one, right? The single source of truth. But, okay, so how about this? What if I wanted to, for some reason, have another component? I want to have another component inside of parent that shows the family of the other ones, right? But I want it to be inside of parent because maybe I have a form. Let's say, I'm not going to do it, but maybe I have a form. And when I've hit submit on that form and everything's filled out, I want to actually render another component, but I don't want to do an if-else statement in that and keep going deeper and deeper, but I actually want to just stay up inside of that parent. Well, now we can do that because all of the information is accessed right here. So if I wanted to make another component, and I could just say like, I'm going to call it the mishmash component, and I make a file, and I'm going to say mishmash.js. We go import React from React, and I'm going to make this another functional component. I'm going to say const export const mishmash, and this is going to take in props, and from there I'm going to turn bear with me a second while I do the boilerplate, right? And I want to return something. I'm going to return a mishmash, right? I'm going to say this is mishmash. And then I'm going to just do a little line break. And let's see what we have right now. So if I import it like this, and if I export it like that, I can import it in the parent. That's not what I wanted. Mishmash from / mishmash. And let's say I want to render this too. So after that, and go mishmash. Okay, so before I hit save and it re-renders, what do we expect to see on the screen? Someone maybe that I haven't heard from yet today. No slight to you. Someone who's like, time for me to speak today. I will randomly call on someone if someone doesn't raise their hand. Yes, say it a little louder, Nikki. Good volunteering. So she says it's going to be all the components that we created plus mishmash. All right, let's see. Well, that was unexpected. Why?
Oh, your React fragment is close. Bottom.
What do you mean?
Mishmash file. I got the break.
Okay. There we go. Thanks, Nikki. Okay, so all right, we've got our parent component, we've got our child component, we've got our grandchild component with selector, which still works and everything, and then we've got this is the mishmash component, right? Mishmash, and and I'm going to add just another break here, so it's a better space. Okay. So in my mishmash component, I'm going to show the family, right? So in the mishmash, let's say I want to show the parent. And so I'm going to say Here, I'm going to say props dot, and what's the parent? What's something from the parent we might want to show? Maybe their name, adult. And we say dot name. Okay. And we'll say props dot. What do we want to show about the child? What do we know about the child? In our state of, we have child's name, right? So we'll say child's name. Whoops. Nobody shouted out on me for that one. What? We haven't, I can't hear you. We have faith. Oh, thank you. Okay, and then we can do, I'm just gonna, let's make this really explicit. So I'm gonna say parent name, child name, and then the most important part of any family is the grandchild's hair color. Grandchild hair color, because that's also what we're changing, right? And so I'm gonna say this dot, oh, just props dot, and what's it called in our parent? Grandchild hair, perfect, very aptly named. Grandchild hair color. I'm writing props a lot. I don't like doing that. So I'm just going to get rid of all of those. And instead, take them out here and say name, child's name, grandchild's hair color. So far, so good? Okay, so what do we expect when I save it now? Say it a little bit louder for me. Exactly. So Jakey says we're not seeing nothing except for errors. Let's see what happens. Let me read. Well, we're seeing nothing. I mean, we're seeing the new text, and we're not really seeing an error, but that's okay. But we're just seeing nothing. Why are we seeing nothing? Who can tell me? Yeah, Johnny, go ahead.
Because it's not passing props over to the mishmash.js. But
Yeah.
text is going to be there because it's set up to be.
Right. So we're still displaying mishmash, which has text, but we're supposed to be displaying also this information we're getting from props. But if we look at parent, where we're calling mishmash, we're not passing in Jack, right? So let's pass in Jack, or more aptly named adult. And so we say name, and we can say this dot state dot name. We wanted to pass in child name, and we'll say this dot state. Like maybe we'll destructure this out too if we want, but might not matter for our purposes. And then we can do grandchild hair color. And that's going to be what? Perfect. Okay, so now when I say what are we expecting? Everything. Okay. And we do, right? We see absolutely everything. Now don't forget, we're currently seeing the grandchild hair color, which is 2 components away in a different direction. Right? That's pretty cool. Not only that, but if I update this hair color, it gets reflected in this sibling component of child. Right? Mishmash and child are siblings. I don't, right? Maybe I should have called it brother, sister. Maybe that would have been better all along. But I didn't think to do that. But we can also update, our name for our child to Big Win. Big Win. And those are all the things we made that were changeable from this. I mean, we could also change our name, but I think we're probably getting it at this point. I hope so. Okay, that's all I wanted to cover, because I think that's pretty much the entire review and kind of setting up the entire app structure And you could use your imagination to see how everything else would tie together. We learned how to pass props. We've learned how to pass a function as a prop as a function that can update different. We've learned how to keep our state all in one and how to prop drill and thread, which eventually will replace with a better method that's not so deeply drilled. And then we've learned how to show all of that in a sibling component, which is helpful because how else would we wrap it all together and still have information? Like if we wanted to go a different direction, instead of just going like way deep, nested after nested after nested, we can start to spread out. Yeah, David.
So based on your question, then besides the single source, matter of having the updates being shared across your other
Yeah, so like maybe I have a component that's in charge of Google Maps, right? And maybe I have another filter component. And my filter, somebody types in the distance that they want from where they are. And I want Google Maps to also receive that. So instead of having to worry about nesting Google Maps inside of the filter, I can just connect that straight to app, or in this case, parent, and get that same information. They could still be sharing even though they're in multiple places. That's a great question, David, or clarification. Yeah, exactly, right? These are siblings. If we look at the render of our parent component, we just have child and mishmash. It's got two components that it's displaying. Yep.
They're siblings because they have the same problem.
Just because they're in the same component. They're the same like level deep and stuff, yeah. Cool. Well, are we ready to reattack our, yeah, Johnny?
Can you share this code?
Yeah, it's been shared. Yeah, and I've never not shared the code. Yeah, absolutely. Not too much going on there. All right, are we ready to attack what we've been working on now with a new vigor and excitement? I hope so. I mean, this is it. This is your future career. It's kind of like, you know, this is like a big portion. This is React. All right. Can I push? Yeah, I will as soon as I'm done. Yeah. All right, go for it. Oh, no, okay.